This is not a political video. But now that you've heard everyone else's think piece on why they believe Donald Trump won the election, let's now discuss said reason with the aid of evolutionary psychology. Not only am I going to be explaining why people were biologically predisposed to choosing Trump over Harris, but I'm also going to be going out of my way to show you the link between that and leaders all over the world like Putin, Xi Jinping, and even Hamas seemingly getting their shit together now that Trump has been reelected. And no, this has nothing to do with power structure, systems, race, or anything like that. This is all going to be based on fundamental principles of human behavioral psychology. You definitely want to save this one for later for your own future reference because everything I'm about to talk about can definitely be practically applied in your own life. Since the very beginning of time, human beings have always been a collaborative species. That is to say that we've always made more progress and increased our chances of survival significantly by cooperating with each other. But with the increase in size of our neocortex and as a result our capacity for consciousness and intelligence, also came the ability to deceive, deception. It was not possible for some cave people within the tribe to take advantage of others and increase their own chances of survival while shooting down their own chances of survival and getting away with it. So naturally, our ancestors came up with a few evolutionary strategies to defend against getting taken advantage of by others. And all these evolutionary strategies are centered around the exact same concept, the ability to identify the intentions and as a result the agenda of the person that you believe might be trying to take advantage of you. Because our ancestors, rightly so, discovered over time and refining those evolutionary strategies that the one thing that differentiates someone that will take advantage of you and someone that won't is their intentions, the presence of an agenda. So in practice, on an evolutionary level, what all those strategies end up looking like is your ability to identify the presence of an agenda in someone else. This is why on an unconscious level, certain behavioral traits in others might trigger your so-called alarm system or your defense mechanism. Traits like infallibility or the appearance of perfection, excessive amounts of agreeability and the need to please, or even a trait like a misalignment or inconsistency between words and actions. These are all traits that we all unconsciously look out for and that signal to us subconsciously the presence of an agenda that we might not necessarily benefit from. So whether you realize it or not, whenever you meet someone for the first time, your reticular activation system is constantly scanning for the presence of some kind of an agenda. And in the case where you find an agenda and you conclude that it doesn't benefit you somehow, then your guard naturally goes up. Now, remember when not too long ago I said that human beings since the beginning of time have been a collaborative species? Usually when human beings are collaborating at the highest level, they naturally pick a leader. There are many reasons human beings naturally do this. The definitiveness of purpose, alignment in values and agenda, division of labor, etc. But the major reason most human beings are naturally predisposed to picking a leader for whatever agenda they're trying to achieve, it really comes down to something as simple as the fact that they don't want to shoulder the burden of responsibility that comes with decision making. It's easier to be one of the many moving parts within an already established system than to be the one at the helm of affairs making decisions. That's it. But picking a leader goes beyond just finding someone to shoulder the burden of responsibility and decision making. Humans need to be able to trust that the leaders they pick actually have their best interest in mind. So naturally, when it comes to picking a leader, there's even more scrutiny on that individual because of the amount of trust they have to earn from their followers. Humans are not biologically predisposed to making leaders out of people that they believe will take advantage of them later down the road. So a potential leader kills his or her chances of becoming a leader completely by demonstrating, even on an unconscious level, the capacity for deception. The only time humans choose to flock behind leaders they do not 100% trust is when they don't believe they have options in candidates for leaders. Enter the US elections and the two-party system. In cases like this where humans believe they only have two options, the rules slightly change. Now it's not a matter of who they completely trust, it's a matter of who they trust more than the other. When it comes to US elections, it's always a matter of picking the lesser of two evils. And as usual, behavioral cues and traits are indeed the deciding factor. Now, naturally, the question from this point becomes, why is Trump the lesser of two evils between him and Harris? Well, the answer is rather simple. Trump behaved in more consistently trustworthy ways than Harris did. As far as evolutionary psychology goes, Trump's behavioral cues signaled far less capacity for deception than Harris did. And his behaviors were seen as far more trustworthy precisely because he wasn't trying to earn anyone's trust. As far as agendas go, the worst one you can be caught having is trying to earn someone else's trust. Whenever Trump was asked a difficult question, he would almost always choose the straight-shooting, most polarizing answer he could give. He never once tried to win anyone over. He just spoke the unadulterated truth according to him. Harris, on the other hand, was always concerned with not offending anyone, so she would almost always opt to not answer at all. And whenever she did answer, there were objectively a lot of inconsistencies. When it came to celebrity endorsements, Trump aligned himself with people like Dana White, Elon Musk, and Joe Rogan. All people that are beloved by their fan bases for being radical truth speakers in the face of adversity. Harris, on the other hand, aligned herself with people like Beyonce, who was at the time in the midst of losing 4 million followers on her Instagram precisely because people didn't trust her. It was pretty much the tale of the trustworthy alcoholic bad boy versus the pandering, overly agreeable nice guy. Harris tried way too hard to earn people's trust, and that's why she didn't. Now, the irony to all this is that when it comes to their personality types, Trump is actually the more unpredictable of the two. He's got a larger ego, he cares more about his reputation, etc. And yet, people are biologically predisposed to trust him over Harris. Why? Because there was more consistency and alignment between his words and his actions than there was with Harris. And the moment that not only perfectly exemplifies this, but also, in my mind, completely sealed Trump's victory is this one right here. I genuinely believe most people don't understand how significant this moment was for not only improving Trump's likability, but also solidifying him as the more trustworthy candidate. Because you see, as humans, we all know on a subconscious level that the real us comes out when we are faced with our mortality. It is difficult, in fact, straight up impossible to be misaligned or inconsistent in your words and actions when you're faced with your mortality. So for Trump's honest reaction after what appears to be a legitimate attempt on his life to be this was a more powerful message than most people realize. This is the most honest we have ever seen Donald Trump, and clearly he believes in what he says enough to have this kind of reaction. Because you see, when it comes to humans and picking leaders, people don't really care to believe the same things you believe in. They just want to know that you believe in what you believe in strongly enough. Now, on this day, Trump passed that test in flying colors. On top of that, it was a massive show of strength to every other dangerous leader all around the world. Because from that point on, any doubts they had about Trump's conviction evaporated. Just like in caveman days when the most competent caveman would drag in the head of the saber-toothed tiger he had just killed. A massive show of undeniable strength is just about the quickest way to be chosen as a leader. In conclusion, the lesson here is to be authentic, especially in the face of adversity. You might not win over everybody, but the people you do win over will follow you to the ends of the earth because they trust you. Do not try to earn people's trust. Just be yourself genuinely in the face of all the backlash and resistance you might get. If you need help with getting out of your shell and learning how to be authentically, unapologetically you despite all the resistance and backlash you might get, may I suggest getting my free course, Self-Belief. It's an entire course dedicated to teaching you how to unconditionally love yourself and survive backlash for free. Want to join a group of like-minded men who will help you along your journey of becoming more comfortable with being yourself? Join my private group as well. It's me, Jacethepickupscientist. Do with this information what you must.